Disney and Pixar have dropped our first proper look at Toy Story 4 by way of the film's first official full trailer. There's quite a bit to unpack in here regarding story, themes, Easter eggs and new characters, so let's break it down. Immediately, the trailer sets us up with a time period for the film. With Bonnie only just beginning school, it seems to be set a year or so after Toy Story 3. This is quite an interesting move considering that the previous movies seem to follow a real-time narrative compared to the years between installments. With Toy Story 3 having hit cinemas 9 years ago, it's safe to assume that instead of a decade-long time jump, filmmakers simply wanted to keep the story focused on a young Bonnie to continue her arc properly. In setting this up, we get some brief looks at the returning characters in the film. Of course, there is Woody, Buzz, Jessie, Bullseye, Slinky, Rex, Ham, and the Green Aliens, as well as Bonnie's legion of figures, Mr. Pricklepants, Buttercup, Trixie, and Dolly. We're introduced to Bo Peep as well later in the trailer, who not only appears in her new Road Warrior kind of look, but also in her classic look as well, which I love. We even briefly see Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, though it's still unconfirmed who'll be taking up the voice role of Mr. Potato Head following the passing of Don Rickles. What I especially love about this trailer is just how wonderful the animation on these characters look, especially compared to the previous movies. The advancement in animation in the last 10 years is incredibly clear. The characters seem more fluid, more emotive, and more realistic. This film almost looks like it's a live action film with real toys. The lighting effects and even the textures on these characters are simply incredible. Of course, we have new characters here as well. We're properly introduced to Forky, Bonnie's arts and crafts project, who she deeply falls in love with. We get a little glimpse into the previously teased existential crisis that he's going through, which works as the catalyst for the film. Forky is questioning his existence, which in turn leads Woody on another journey of self-discovery. Forky's crisis leads he and Woody into an old antique store where we meet some new toys as well, most of which seem to be kind of villainous. There's a creepy doll here that goes by the name of Gabby Gabby, and a bunch of creepy ventriloquist dolls that remind me of Slappy from Goosebumps. It looks like these guys might lead a mutiny on Woody and Forky before Bo steps in to save the day. I wasn't too sure that these characters would be new main characters, however they do appear on the film's newly released poster, telling me that even if they're not perhaps the new lead villains, they'll probably have some kind of substantial role to play here. There's also this guy that we get a brief look at. Judging by the trailer, he seems to be some kind of average action figure guy, but once again, if we turn to the poster, we can see that he looks like some kind of Canadian Evel Knievel type figure. This would also confirm that this brief shot also features the character as well. I kind of get the feeling that this guy might be the new Ken role in this film, adding maybe a little bit of silly comedic relief. Get ready for a lot of jokes ending with "eh?" Also keep in mind that Keanu Reeves is officially announced to be portraying a character in this movie, but so far the character has been unannounced. If I'm to take a guess, this is most likely the character that he'll be portraying.
Excellent!
And of course, Ducky and Bunny, played by Key and Peele, briefly pop up as well. Judging by the trailer, we've got Woody off on his own adventure, teamed up with Forky and Bo, and Buzz is off on his own rescue mission, where he perhaps finds himself teamed up with these guys as his helpers. We also get a brief look at this random little character. She doesn't seem to serve an enormous purpose here, but she's on the poster, so who knows? Also, while I've got this poster up again, I'd like to briefly point out just how genius it is that Doug from Up appears in the dogs playing poker painting here. It's also worth noting the establishment year seen on the antique storefront, which is 1986, the same year that Pixar was founded. Back to the toys now though, we meet a bunch of antique toys in the store as well, who will likely just be background characters. I'm sure there's a few Easter eggs scattered in here, but the only ones I've managed to notice are the appearance of Tin Toy, the character from one of Pixar's first ever short films, Tin Toy, which happens to be the short film which caught Disney's attention of Pixar and went on to inspire Toy Story in the first place. There's this banjo playing bear here as well. While it's not exactly to model, it does make me think of the old Country Bear Jamboree from Disneyland. Also, there are a few tin soldiers, which could be in reference to the Steadfast Tin Soldier segment from Fantasia 2000, and my absolute favourite one right here is these two vintage Star Wars action figures of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ponda Baba, who seem to be reenacting the cantina scene from A New Hope, where Obi uses his lightsaber to chop off Ponda's arm. Check this out on loop. This is absolutely brilliant. I love it. Pixar are genius. Though not a toy, I thought the added touch of this National Geographic magazine pile was nice as well, given that Disney now own Nat Geo following their merger with Fox. The Look magazine in the background could also be a subtle nod to this classic issue featuring Walt Disney on the cover, celebrating the opening of Disneyland in July of 1955. If this is the case, this could be an incredibly meta reference, considering Toy Story Land has just opened at a number of Disney parks. My favourite thing about this trailer though is just how much it relies on the nostalgia of its older audience, with some great callbacks to the original films. There's this great shot of Buzz flying through the sky, or is he falling with style, much like in the first film. The most wonderful moment of the trailer is this flashback of Andy with Buzz and Jessie, which seems to be taken from around the period of Toy Story 2. This here is perhaps the best indicator of just how far animation has come, as we get a newly redesigned Andy, who looks a whole lot more realistic and believable than the Andy we were treated to in Toy Story 2 20 years ago. Gee, I feel so old. There's also this flashback, which is ripped directly from the emotional finale of Toy Story 3. At first I thought that this probably wouldn't be seen in the movie and might just be being used in the trailer for illustrative effect, but when we compare it to the original film, the angle and character movements are completely different, telling me that this is a newly animated segment. Perhaps this is a flashback sequence, or the movie simply picks up directly where the last one left off. The worrying thing about the latter possibility here, however, would be how that this could directly retcon or decanonize all of those Toy Story tunes and TV specials which followed Toy Story 3 in the last decade. Perhaps the most gorgeous shot in the entire trailer though is Woody and Bo standing beneath this car in the rain. It feels like this might come at a turning point in the movie, and it feels to me like a callback to the turning point between Woody and Buzz in the first Toy Story. All in all, I am quite impressed with this trailer. It looks like an incredibly emotional ride, and some may question the need for another Toy Story feature, but I think the existential aspect of this film certainly opens up a narrative aspect that the original films never touched on. And that is, of course, when does a toy stop being a servant and live life all for itself, instead of partaking in this never-ending circle of life and responsibility? Again, the key at the core of this movie is the idea of growing up. This may be retreading old plot points from the original films, especially Toy Story 3 and 2, but I'm definitely keen to see how they go about doing it here. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far, and I can't wait to check out this movie. How about you guys out there? Are you looking forward to Toy Story 4? Are you just meh on the whole thing, or are you completely uninterested? Did you spot anything in here that I didn't? Fire away in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, you like what you've seen, you'd like to see more like this in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen right now, and also hit that like button down below if you're feeling extra generous. Also, don't forget to check out my many social media accounts, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.